Chapter 18. When Aarya returned, she found Arnav in his study. Kabir stood beside him, and the two men appeared to be in the middle of a serious discussion. Their voices were low, their expressions focused. Aarya quietly took her place a few steps behind them. "The council requests your presence, Your Highness," Kabir said. "Since the princess disappeared, the marriage alliance is effectively void. The council wishes to hear your thoughts on how we should proceed." Arnav leaned back slightly in his chair. He tapped his fingers lightly on the desk. "Schedule a meeting with them this afternoon and clear my agenda." Kabir nodded. "Also," Arnav continued, "did we hear back from Nisha?" "Not yet, Your Highness," Kabir replied. "I will send a messenger immediately." Arnav looked back. Only then did he notice Aarya standing quietly behind them. "You're back," his stern voice made her shoulders tense. "Come here." She walked toward the desk. Arnav gestured toward a large pile of papers stacked neatly beside him. "You see these documents? These are trade invoices collected from Sagarkidu's ports over the past year." Arnav watched her carefully as he spoke. "I want you to organize them according to the port of entry and calculate the taxes collected by the palace from each port." Aarya blinked. It sounded like complicated work. "Think you can handle it?" Without making any mistakes, Arnav asked calmly. Aarya nodded. "You may use my personal library. Return once the work is complete," he said. She bowed slightly and left the room without another word. The door closed behind her. Kabir immediately turned toward Arnav. "Why did you give her that task?" he asked, dropping the formal tone. "We should not be revealing our plans in front of her. She may still be our enemy." He crossed his arms. "And besides, you had me calculate those numbers yesterday." Arnav leaned back in his chair. A faint smile appeared on his face. "Patience, Kabir." He glanced toward the door where Aarya had just disappeared. "You will have your answer in a couple of hours." Chapter 19. Aarya began searching for the library in the West Wing. After walking through what felt like endless corridors, she finally found it. 2 large carved wooden doors at the far end of the hallway. She pushed them open slowly. The room took her breath away. Tall wooden cupboards lined every wall, stretching all the way up to the ceiling. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of books filled the shelves. Aarya stepped inside and took a long, slow breath. That familiar woody scent. A soft smile appeared on her lips. She had loved books since childhood. Back home, she had collected many of them, though she had never had a room dedicated to them. Her parents believed reading was merely a pastime, but in truth, books had been her escape. They kept her away from palace politics. They were her safe place. Aarya wandered deeper into the library, running her fingers lightly across the spines of the books. Novels, adventure, poetry, science, history. So many different genres. She even found a book titled How to Organize Your Books. Aarya laughed softly. Arnav had called this his personal library. Was he really an avid reader? Impossible. Readers had hearts, they had emotions. They didn't invade kingdoms. The memory of that morning suddenly flashed through her mind. His frustration. The rough grip with which he had held her wrist. Aarya straightened. "Focus, Aarya," she thought. "I cannot allow him to get to me. I have to find a way out of this castle. And the only way to do that is to gain his trust. To gain his trust, I have to prove that I am capable." Aarya walked toward a large desk near the window and pushed the shutters open. A cool breeze from the valley flowed into the room. She spread the documents across the table. "No mistakes," he had said. "He thinks I am good for nothing." A determined look crossed her face. He has no idea who he is dealing with. For years, Aarya had helped her father review the palace's expenses. Compared to that, this task was simple. She tied her hair back into a bun, pulled the chair closer to the desk, and began working. Time disappeared. 3 hours and 15 minutes passed. Not once did she look up. Not once did she think about her situation. She focused only on the numbers. When she finished the calculations, she reviewed everything again carefully. She did not want Arnav to find even a single mistake. Aarya might not know how to be a proper attendant, but she knew how to be an excellent accountant. And that was something no one could take away from her. When she returned from the library, though she secretly wished she could stay there longer, she saw Arnav entering the courtyard. He had just returned from a horse ride. His clothes were slightly dusty and sweat glistened on his forehead, yet somehow it only made him look more striking. His perfectly styled hair had fallen slightly out of place, giving him a rugged charm. Aarya blinked. Who would say such an attractive man could be such a ruthless warrior? She froze. Wait. Did I just call him attractive? She mentally scolded herself. Wow, Arnav said casually, patting the horse's neck. You're back already. Yes, Your Highness. Aarya tried to remain calm, though a quiet sense of accomplishment warmed her chest. So, Arnav continued, a familiar smug smile appearing on his face. Do you need help? Was the task too difficult for you? For a moment, doubt flickered in her mind, but she quickly pushed it aside. All done. She handed him the sheet containing the final calculations. Arnav glanced at it briefly. Without saying anything, he walked toward his study. Aarya followed him. Kabir was already inside. Arnav placed Aarya's paper beside another sheet on his desk. Look at this, Kabir. Kabir stepped closer. His eyes widened. Aarya frowned, confused. Your numbers and her numbers match exactly, Arnav said, clearly amused. Kabir leaned closer, carefully comparing both sheets. Arnav turned toward Aarya. Good job, he said. I'm honestly impressed. Aarya felt her heart race. A faint blush spread across her cheeks. Thank you, Your Highness. She could not have asked for a better reaction. Arnav leaned back slightly. So, you cannot draw laundry, prepare a bath, or perform basic servant duties. But you can read, write, and perform complex calculations. A slow smile spread across his face. How strange, he glanced at Kabir. Isn't that strange, Kabir? Kabir was still examining the papers. Arnav's eyes returned to Aarya. They sharpened. Tell me. His voice lowered slightly. Who are you really? Aarya suddenly went very still. Her jaw clenched. Chapter 20. Quick. Say something clever. Aarya's mind raced. Arnav was clearly enjoying the tension. The way his question left her breathless. Well, my mistress. Her Highness, Princess Aarya, is very kind, Aarya said nervously. She graciously allowed me to sit in on her private lessons. I learned the basics simply by watching her. That explains how you can read and write, Kabir said, still examining the papers. But complex mathematics, how? Aarya swallowed. Her Highness often helped her father review the palace accounts. She taught me some of what she knew, but my skills are nothing compared to hers. Aarya lowered her eyes, trying to make her lie sound convincing. Kabir raised an eyebrow. And what about your remarkable incompetence when it comes to household chores? Aarya's jaw tightened. I'm sure she has a perfectly reasonable explanation, Arnav said dryly. His sarcasm made her blood boil. If I do something wrong, he questions me. If I do something right, he questions me. Aarya lifted her head. I served Princess Aarya as her primary attendant, she said firmly. I was not like the other servants. Both men watched her closely. I was trained to be Princess's companion, her confidant, someone she could trust with her whole heart. My purpose was to understand her needs before she even spoke them, to comfort her, protect her, entertain her. There were many servants in the palace who could cook, clean, and manage chores. But I was the only one who truly understood the princess. I see that such skills are not valued in this castle. Aarya's eyes flashed with irritation. A tense silence filled the room. But here it seems a person's worth is measured only by how well they do the laundry. Her words struck Arnav like an arrow. He had expected panic, a foolish lie, maybe even a confession. But not a taunt. For a brief moment, Aarya met his gaze, and she saw something unexpected in his eyes, a wound. Arnav quickly recovered. Huh, he scoffed. If Sagarkidu's palace is so impressive. His voice turned mocking. Tell me, Plea, why is the royal treasury nearly empty? What? Aarya said instantly. That is impossible. Oh yeah. You need proof. Arnav grabbed 2 documents from his desk and walked toward her. This time, Aarya did not step back. He held the treaty in front of her. Look at this agreement signed by King Sudhanshu, he said coldly. Do you see the sum he declared as the palace treasury? Arya's eyes scanned the document. Her heart dropped. The number was shockingly low. With funds like this, Arnav continued, Sagarkidu could barely sustain a few villages. He leaned slightly closer. Even without war, the kingdom would collapse within months. Aarya stared at the paper in disbelief. This could not be true. How is that possible? She whispered. The revenue collected from the ports alone should sustain the kingdom for at least 2 years. She looked up suddenly. Is that why you asked me to calculate the port revenues? Arnav studied her for a moment before answering. I suspected something was wrong months ago, he said quietly, but suspicion is useless without proof. Then he nodded toward the papers in her hand. And now I have it. The revenue numbers are consistently high, Arnav continued. So tell me, why are the palace funds nearly empty? His eyes narrowed slightly, almost as if he expected Aarya to answer. If King Sudhanshu lied on this treaty, he said slowly. I have every right to arrest him. Aarya felt panic rising inside her. No. There must be another explanation, she said quickly. He would never lie like that, especially when his daughter's life was at stake. Her voice trembled. He signed this treaty when proposing the marriage alliance, didn't he? He would never risk his daughter's life with a lie like that. He wouldn't. She suddenly stopped. A thought struck her. What if the port revenue never reached the palace? Kabir frowned. You mean corruption? He asked. Yes, Aarya said quietly. Someone could be stealing the money before it reaches the royal treasury. Kabir shook his head. That level of corruption would not go unnoticed. Aarya looked down. Unless, she said softly. Both men looked at her. Unless the person responsible is very close to the royal family. Silence fell over the room. Arnav and Kabir exchanged a glance. Both of them were so focused on punishing King Sudhanshu. Neither had considered that possibility. Arnav was lost in thought when he suddenly felt something warm. Aarya had grabbed his hand. She was holding it tightly with both of hers. Tears shimmered in her eyes. Please, she whispered. Please give King Sudhanshu the benefit of the doubt. For a long moment, Arnav said nothing. Then he slowly nodded. Chapter 21. Kabir bowed slightly. Investigate this matter, Arnav said. Of course, Your Highness, Kabir replied, though a trace of hesitation lingered in his voice. Arnav turned his attention back to Aarya. She was staring blankly at the wall, clearly shaken. It must be hard, he thought, to believe that your father could have betrayed you. For the first time, he felt a hint of sympathy toward her. His eyes drifted down to her hands. They were still wrapped around his. She probably hadn't even realized it. Arnav cleared his throat. Aarya jumped slightly. Startled. She immediately let go of his hand and stepped back 2 paces. It's almost noon, she said quickly, lowering her gaze. I will go set up the dining table. She bowed and hurried out of the chamber. Kabir waited until the door closed. Your Highness, Arnav looked up. Kabir rarely spoke in that tone, unless he wanted a private conversation. We should not trust her, Kabir said carefully. She is clearly hiding her identity. For all we know, she could be a spy sent to sabotage us. He paused before continuing. and the council meeting begins in an hour. Arresting King Sudhanshu was our primary agenda. Arnav leaned back in his chair. She is hiding her identity, he admitted calmly. Every trait she has screams that she was raised in a royal household. I believe she escaped the palace to avoid the marriage alliance. Plain and simple. He folded his arms. I do not think she came here with malicious intent. In fact, if I gave her the chance, she would probably disappear in half a second. What she said is logically correct, Arnav added. No father would willingly endanger his own child. We have no right to punish King Sudhanshu if he is innocent. Arnav's gaze sharpened. But if we find even the slightest deception on his part, he paused. You will personally go and arrest him. Is that clear? Kabir straightened. Yes, Your Highness. Kabir's concern faded. Arnav's judgment had reassured him. A short while later, Arnav and Kabir sat across from each other at the dining table. As usual, the table was covered with steaming dishes. Rich stews, fragrant rice, fresh bread, and a variety of desserts. Aarya stood behind them, more alert this time. The humiliation from the morning was still fresh in her mind. She watched carefully, making sure to serve the correct dish at the right moment. Arnav glanced over his shoulder. Did you eat? The room froze. Even Kabir went still. The most powerful man in the castle had just asked a mere attendant whether she had eaten. It was not a common sight. Not yet, Your Highness, Aarya replied softly. I will be occupied with meetings after lunch, Arnav said calmly. You are dismissed for the day once we finish here. Relief washed over Aarya. Your Highness, a guard stepped into the room. A guest is requesting your presence. Before Arnav could respond, a voice echoed from the doorway. How dare you call me a guest? Nisha walked in confidently. I am practically family. Isn't that right, Your Highness? You really have no manners, do you? Kabir complained. Who walks into the royal dining hall unannounced? Are you jealous? Or afraid of losing your position as His Highness's most trusted friend? Nisha smirked. She pulled out a chair and sat beside Arnav. Then she pointed directly at Aarya. You. Serve. Aarya stepped forward, unsure of what to offer. I only want dessert, Nisha said casually. After all, I bring good news. That immediately caught Arnav's attention. Tell me, he said. Nisha leaned back comfortably. The royal family of Sagarkidu has officially confirmed the princess's disappearance. They have condemned her actions and requested Your Highness's mercy. They also hope to renegotiate the alliance peacefully. And after applying a bit of pressure, Nisha's eyes sparkled. They have officially declared the princess a traitor. Arnav immediately noticed the change in Aarya. Her shoulders tensed, her grip on the dessert bowl trembled. She was dangerously close to breaking her composure. Before she could drop it, Arnav reached out and took the bowl from her. He didn't want her secret revealed. Not yet. Excellent. Allow me to serve you, Nisha. You deserve it, Arnav said smoothly. Oh, what an honor. Nisha smiled mischievously. But I think Kabir should serve both of us. She grabbed the bowl from Arnav and handed it to Kabir. Kabir rolled his eyes as the two of them began bickering. Arnav leaned slightly toward Aarya. Go stand in the corner, he whispered. Stay in the present. For a brief moment, Arnav's eyes met with Aarya. He wasn't angry. He just needed her to hold herself together. Thank you for listening. As the writer of this story, I have a question for you. What do you think fate has planned for Aarya and Arnav? Every choice has a consequence. Every secret has a cost. And every path leads to a new challenge waiting to be faced. Will they lift each other up or tear each other apart? The answers await in the next episode. If you're enjoying the story, please like, subscribe, and follow the channel so you never miss an episode. Your support helps this story reach more listeners, and it truly means the world to this writer. See you next time.